Most people believe anxiety means something is wrong with them. The Stoics believed anxiety means your mind is trying to control what it was never meant to control. Worry is not a weakness. It is a misdirection of energy. You are not anxious because you are fragile. You are anxious because your attention is scattered between the past you cannot change and the future you cannot guarantee. The Stoics saw this clearly. They lived in times of war, exile, disease, and political chaos. And yet, they spoke more about inner calm than any generation before or after them. Why? Because they understood a truth most people never learn. Peace is not found by fixing the world. Peace is found by placing your mind correctly within it. Modern life teaches you to think constantly, to anticipate danger, to prepare for every possible outcome. The Stoics taught the opposite. They taught you to stand still internally, even when life is moving fast around you. Anxiety is not caused by events. It is caused by interpretation. Two people face the same situation. One collapses, the other remains calm. The difference is not luck, it is philosophy. This video is not about positive thinking. The Stoics rejected that. It is about clear thinking, thinking that separates what is in your control from what is not, and refusing to mix the two. When you mix them, anxiety is inevitable. When you separate them, peace becomes possible. The Stoics did not promise a painless life. They promised a stable mind, a mind that does not panic at uncertainty, a mind that does not replay regret endlessly, a mind that does not borrow suffering from tomorrow. They believed most human suffering is optional, not because life is easy, but because the mind adds what reality never demanded. There are 13 Stoic secrets that dismantle anxiety at its root, not by distraction, not by avoidance, but by changing how you relate to thoughts, fear, uncertainty, time. These are not quick tricks. These are not quick. They are mental positions, positions that, once learned, make worry unnecessary. Stay until the end. Because once you understand why the Stoics were calm in chaos, you stop fighting your mind and start training it. And when the mind is trained correctly, peace is no longer rare. It becomes your default. This is the foundation of all Stoic calm. According to the Stoics, anxiety begins the moment you try to control what was never placed under your authority. You worry about other people's opinions, outcomes that depend on chance futures that do not yet exist, and your mind reacts with tension because it senses an impossible task. The Stoics divided life into two categories: things within your control and things outside your control. Nothing else matters. Anxiety is the pain of mixing these two. You try to control outcomes, you try to control timing, you try to control how life responds, and the mind collapses under that weight. Why this creates constant worry? When you attempt to control the uncontrollable, the mind never rests. Every scenario feels threatening, every delay feels dangerous. Stoics saw this as a design error. You are asking the mind to do a job it was never built for. Peace begins the moment you reassign responsibility. You take full responsibility for your actions, your effort, your character, and you release responsibility for results, reactions, external events. This single separation removes more anxiety than any technique. Stoic practice. Ask yourself constantly, is this within my control? If the answer is no, release it immediately, not emotionally, rationally. Stoic secret number 2. Most worry is imaginary suffering. The Stoics had a brutal observation. Most people suffer more in imagination than in reality. You replay conversations, you predict disasters, you rehearse humiliation that never happens. The Stoics called this mental time travel, and they considered it one of the greatest sources of misery. Reality happens once. Worry happens thousands of times without evidence. Why the mind creates imaginary threats. The mind evolved to detect danger, but modern life rarely presents immediate physical threats. So the mind invents them. What if I fail? What if they reject me? What if everything collapses? Stoics refused to treat imagined futures as real experiences. They asked one question: is this happening right now? If not, it does not deserve emotional energy. Stoic practice. Return attention to the present moment, not through meditation cliches, but through logic. Right now, are you breathing? Are you safe? Are you capable of acting? If yes, then anxiety is a lie about the present. Stoics dismantled worry by refusing to suffer early. Stoic secret number 3, resistance to uncertainty creates fear. Most people want guarantees, certainty about success, safety, approval outcomes. The Stoics knew this desire creates anxiety by default, because life does not offer certainty. So the Stoics made a radical shift. They stopped demanding certainty and started training tolerance for uncertainty. Why uncertainty terrifies the untrained mind. An untrained mind believes, if I don't know what will happen, I am in danger. Stoics believed, if I don't know what will happen, I will respond correctly when it does. That difference is everything. Anxiety comes from wanting guarantees. Calm comes from trusting your ability to adapt. Stoic practice. Instead of asking, what if this goes wrong? Ask, if it goes wrong, will I still act with reason? The answer is almost always yes. And when you trust your response, fear loses power. The Stoic pattern you should notice. Secret number 1, control clarity. Secret number 2, refusal to suffer in imagination. Secret number 3, acceptance of uncertainty. All 3 remove false responsibility. Anxiety is not eliminated by comfort. It is eliminated by clarity. The Stoic shift, critical. At this stage, something changes. You stop asking, how do I stop feeling anxious? You start asking, why am I assigning meaning where none exists? That question dissolves anxiety instead of fighting it. Stoic rule to lock in. You are responsible for how you act, not for how life unfolds. Release what you cannot govern. Govern what you can. Peace follows naturally. The Stoics did not eliminate anxiety by avoiding life. They eliminated anxiety by strengthening the mind until pressure stopped feeling dangerous. They believed anxiety survives only where the mind is untrained. Once trained, fear has nowhere to attach. Stoic secret number 4, remove the urgency to feel better. This is one of the most overlooked causes of anxiety. Most anxious people are not just anxious, they are anxious about being anxious. They think, I must calm down now. I shouldn't feel this way. I need relief immediately. The Stoics saw this as a trap. Urgency to feel better adds a second layer of tension. Instead of one problem, you create 2. Stoics did not rush calm. They allowed discomfort to exist without panic. And paradoxically, that is what dissolved it. Why accepting discomfort reduces anxiety. Anxiety feeds on resistance. The more you fight it, the more attention it receives. Stoics treated anxiety like weather. It comes, it stays, it leaves. No negotiation, no judgment. When anxiety is allowed without drama, it weakens. Stoic practice. Say internally, this sensation is uncomfortable, not dangerous. That single distinction prevents escalation. Stoic secret, number 5, shorten your time horizon. Anxious minds live too far ahead. They jump days, months, years into imagined futures. Stoics refused this. They lived in small, controllable time units. Not my whole life, not this entire year, just this hour, this task, this decision. Anxiety collapses when time horizons shrink. Why this works so powerfully, the mind cannot panic about a future it is not visiting. When you reduce focus to, what must I do next, correctly, the mind regains stability. Stoics believed, life is manageable in pieces, but overwhelming in imagination. Stoic practice replace, what if everything goes wrong, with, what is the next correct action? That question grounds the mind immediately. Stoic secret number 6, rehearse loss to remove fear. This may sound counterintuitive, but it is one of the strongest Stoic tools. Stoics practiced negative visualization. They imagined losing status, losing comfort, losing approval, losing possessions, not to depress themselves, but to remove shock. Fear survives on surprise. When the mind has already visited loss, loss loses its terror. Why this eliminates worry. Anxious minds fear collapse. Stoics asked, if this happened, would I still survive? The answer was almost always yes, and once survival is accepted, fear loses leverage. You stop needing life to be perfect in order to remain calm. Stoic practice. Occasionally ask, if I lost this, would I still have myself? If the answer is yes, anxiety weakens instantly. Stoic secret. 7. Build confidence in character, not outcomes. Most anxiety comes from this belief: if things don't go my way, I will not cope. Stoics replaced this belief with another: no matter what happens, I will act with reason. They trusted character, not circumstances. This changes everything. You stop fearing failure because failure does not destroy who you are. You stop fearing judgment because judgment does not define your values. Why character-based confidence is unbreakable. Outcome-based confidence collapses the moment outcomes shift. Character-based confidence does not. Stoics train themselves to value self-control, integrity, reason. These cannot be taken away, and what cannot be taken away cannot create anxiety. Stoic practice. Ask yourself, even if this goes badly, can I still act correctly? If yes, peace returns. The Stoic structure you should see now. Secret number 4, stop rushing relief. Secret number 5, shrink time. Secret number 6, rehearse loss. Secret number 7, trust character. Notice the pattern. None of these secrets try to eliminate anxiety directly. They remove the conditions anxiety needs to survive. The Stoic shift, critical. At this stage, something profound happens. You stop fearing anxiety. And when fear of anxiety disappears, anxiety loses power. The Stoics knew this centuries ago. What you no longer fear cannot control you. Stoic rule to lock in: calm is not the absence of discomfort. Calm is confidence in your ability to endure it. By now, you should see something clearly. The Stoics did not try to calm down. They removed the conditions that made anxiety possible. This final part completes the system. Stoic secret number 8, stop identifying with your thoughts. This is one of the deepest Stoic realizations. Most people believe, I am my thoughts. The Stoics rejected this completely. They believed, I experience thoughts, I am not them. Anxiety becomes overwhelming only when you treat every thought as truth. The Stoics treated thoughts like visitors. Some are useful, most are noise. You do not obey every visitor. You observe, evaluate, and dismiss. Why this changes everything. Anxious thoughts feel powerful because you merge with them. The moment you create distance, their authority disappears. A thought saying, something bad will happen, is not a prophecy. It is a suggestion. Stoics trained themselves to question thoughts instead of obeying them. Stoic practice. When a worrying thought appears, ask, is this a fact or an impression? If it is only an impression, it deserves scrutiny, not fear. Stoic secret number 9, remove the need for constant reassurance. Anxiety survives on reassurance. You want certainty, you want guarantees, you want someone to tell you it will be okay. Stoics knew this dependence keeps the mind weak. They built self-reliance instead of reassurance. They asked, what if no reassurance comes? And they trained themselves to remain steady anyway. Why reassurance makes anxiety stronger. Every time you seek reassurance, you teach the mind, I cannot handle uncertainty alone. The Stoics refused this lesson. They became their own anchor. Stoic practice. When you want reassurance, pause, ask, can I remain calm without external confirmation? Each time you do, anxiety weakens permanently. Stoic secret. Dirks 10. Accept that life owes you nothing. This secret is uncomfortable and incredibly freeing. Most anxiety comes from entitlement. This shouldn't be happening. Life should be easier. I deserve peace. The Stoics rejected entitlement. They believed, life is neutral. I am responsible for my response. When you stop expecting fairness, you stop being shocked. And shock is what fuels anxiety. Why acceptance creates peace. When nothing is owed, everything becomes manageable. Pain becomes part of existence, not a personal attack. This mental position removes resentment, panic, and resistance. Stoic practice. Replace "this shouldn't be happening" with "this is happening. I will respond with reason." Calm follows immediately. Stoic secret. 11. Limit your exposure to chaos. Stoics were not careless with attention. They knew what enters the mind repeatedly shapes emotional patterns. They limited gossip, drama, constant news, emotional environments. Not out of fear, but out of discipline. Anxiety thrives in noisy minds. Silence weakens it. Stoic practice. Reduce unnecessary inputs. Less information, less reaction, more clarity. Peace is often a result of what you remove. Stoic secret. 12. Practice daily mental order. The Stoics did not wait for anxiety to appear. They maintained mental order daily. Each evening, they reviewed: what disturbed me today? Why did it disturb me? How should I respond next time? This prevented accumulation. Anxiety grows when thoughts pile up unexamined. Order dissolves accumulation. Stoic practice. End each day by clearing the mind. Unresolved thoughts become tomorrow's anxiety. Stoic secret. 13. Make peace your default, not a goal. This is the final seal. Most people chase peace like an achievement. The Stoics lived differently. Peace was their starting position. They assumed calm unless proven otherwise. This mental posture changes how life is experienced. You stop asking, "How do I calm down?" You start asking, "Why should I be disturbed?" Most of the time, there is no good answer. The final Stoic transformation. By applying all 13 secrets, something irreversible happens. Anxiety does not disappear completely, but it appears less often, stays for shorter periods, loses authority quickly. You no longer fear it, and what you do not fear cannot control you. The ultimate Stoic realization. Anxiety was never your enemy. It was a signal that your mind needed training. Once trained, the signal becomes unnecessary. Peace is not fragile, it is built. Final Stoic closing. Strong retention end. The Stoics lived in chaos and remained calm, not because life was kind, but because their minds were ordered. You do not need to escape the world to eliminate anxiety. You need to stop letting the world occupy your inner space without permission. Mental peace is not luck, it is alignment, and alignment is learned. When you place your mind correctly, worry loses its purpose. And when worry loses purpose, peace becomes natural.